Good evening, everyone, and welcome once more to our program, 26 Years Existence of the Voice. In our last program, we actually had a discussion, which we're going to continue today. And what do we mean by 26 years of the VOICE Refugee Forum? We explained in our last program also. And now we are just going to go deep into the discussion. I have two guests with me, Brother Osemaye. I'm going to give him the possibility to introduce himself, and two other brothers who are in Rudolstadt from the migrant community Rudolstadt, Brother Emodia and Brother Osaron. Later on during the program, we're also going to have our guests from Wuppertal. They have been our permanent guests since the beginning of the program. So this program, like I said before, it's a series for the celebration of our 26 years existence of the Voice. It's a dual program, which means we are now live also on studio in Reboot FM 88.4 megahertz in Berlin and 90.7 megahertz in Potsdam. This program is called The Voices, which we've been having for the past 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. And if you want to know more, you can get into our page to get the different episodes that we've been having the past time. Today, we are going to talk much about police brutality. What do we know about police brutality? In our past series, the BlockSeries celebrating this forum, we talked about fear. So we are going to talk about our different campaigns that we've been doing on police brutality. What role does fear play in these campaigns? We'll shed light on the causes, effects, and repercussions of fear. Yeah, and our campaigns against racist police brutality, the fears that are behind it, the successes that are behind it, and the failures that are behind it. But again, we are not going to talk only about successes and failures. Even within the success, what could we have done better? This is what we are going to talk about. And then we're going to connect it also with the 10th of December, International Human Rights Day, and with the migrant struggle against police brutality. How is this day connected with our migrant struggles against police brutality? This is also possible and also so because on the 10th of December, 2020, in a few days, next Thursday actually, we are going to have an NSAS campaign march. People are coming, most of them Nigerians coming to Berlin to talk about police brutality in Nigeria. But since we have different Pan-Africanists within the Nigerian communities, we decided to talk about police brutality in Nigeria as a micro example of police brutality in Africa. So for that, we have Brother Osemaye, who will give us, shed more light on this campaign. And yeah, then generally, we're going to talk about the 10th of December. So we've talked about the basics, which is fear within our campaigns. And the campaigns that we have singled out this time is campaigns against racist police brutality or police brutality in general. Now, you go to the sub-levels of this broad theme fear. We are going to talk about two questions. The first one is, why do we always wait for something to happen to us before we start mobilizing for a campaign? Yeah, so this question comes actually as a result of our last discussion that we had in the 61st edition of the Voices that we had a month ago. And we had two questions. So the first one was, why do we always have to wait for a catastrophe? And then the second one was, even after this catastrophe, when we are mobilizing for campaigns or for protests or whatever thing, with whom are we connected? With whom do we want to connect? With whom do we fight? Is it with our oppressor or with our oppressed? So these are the questions that we are going to answer in this our series. And I hope we're going to enjoy it. Also to our audience, we thank you once more for being part of this. And we hope you're going to have a fruitful discussion with us. So to get directly into the discussion, I would like to call on Brother Osemaye to talk about himself first. You have like 2-3 minutes to talk about yourself, your campaigns, and what you're doing now at present. Brother Osemaye, can you hear us? Your microphone, sorry.
Thank you, Brother Mbolo, for the invite. And I'm really delighted to be part of this anniversary. And because it takes me personally back to in the 90s, when it all started. And so, it's a little bit something that is still existing today and very forceful too, even with all shortcomings and successes, and we went through the struggle. I'm very proud, and I'm proud of those people who kept the fight going. And like Brother Mbolo just said, my name is Osamaye Morinken Donatus. So in this place here, people know me as Peter Donatus, but my African name is Osamaye Morinken. And so I'm here actually through this invite to also gain some experiences from people who will be talking about police brutality. But I'm the chairman of Payday International at the moment in Cologne. And we are more into the discussion and struggle about reparation and repatriation of colonial goods, and we are making very big progress on that. And later on, I think I will have the opportunity to talk about the most urgent projects, most urgent cause at hand now, and I think you give me the opportunity to talk about that, about the march to Berlin. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me, first of all.
Thank you very much, Brother Osemaye. It's a pleasure having you again. We've been connecting time and again, and actually it's a pleasure for me to have you once more in this discussion. You've been very fruitful in all our discussions also, and we hope to have a better discussion through this time. We've been having good discussions. We hope to have a better one now.
Thank you.
I will go straight directly to our brothers in Rudolstadt because they are deep now in the hot spot, I would say. Brother Imodia, can you hear me? Hello, Brother Imodia, can you hear me? Brother Ozaron?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. So now, just introduce yourself shortly to our viewers and our audience. Yeah, those who are not able to see us but listen to us. You can just say a little bit who you are, where you are, what you're doing. Both of you guys.
Okay. Okay. My name is Obomo James Moria. A part of Refugee Black Box. And
my name is Osaro Dixon Ebavon. Stays in Rudolstadt. So yet we are doing nothing yet.
Okay.
Yet not working.
Okay. I just see now that we have one of our guests from Wuppertal online. If you just give me 1 second, I'll let him in, and then we continue. Okay. Yeah, just 1 second. Okay. And during this time that we are letting our brother from Wuppertal or our guest from Wuppertal, because there might be more than one person. Okay, I see. Hello, Brother Ares, you're there. Can you hear us, Brother Ares?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just, until Brother Ares comes in directly, I will just continue. I would say, Brother Imodia and Brother Osaron, maybe you can say a little bit about where you are in Rudolstadt, yeah? What is there, and what are the situations and the conditions? Where you come from originally, that would also be of interest to some of our audience.
Okay. Hi, Mudia, I'm from Delta State.
When you say Delta State, you mean from Nigeria?
I'm from Nigeria, Delta State, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I've been in Germany for 3 years now. This December makes it 3 years. Then I'm in Roderstadt. I've been in Roderstadt for the 3 years I've been in Germany. And presently, we in the hand, in the camp, we are under lockdown. The camp has been locked down because
when you say the camp, I mean, I'm going to try to direct you a little bit because I understand we have some connection problems also. So I will be intervening just to make the audience understand what you're talking about. When you say the camp, you mean the refugee camp, right?
Yeah, the refugee camp, yeah.
Okay. So, and this is in Rudolstadt. Rudolstadt is in Thuringia. It's one of the states in Germany, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you can go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, so I've been in lockdown for some time. Started yesterday, and that has disrupted a lot of movement for people that go to work, for people that do other things. So that's what's going on now.
Okay, we'll have much more time to talk about your direct situation and how it connects to our campaigns now. It's really interesting. That's why I wanted you to stress where you're from, because we have a majority Nigerian issue now. Police brutality, Nigeria, NSAS campaign, Nigeria, and now we have activists who are actually from Nigeria talking about their situations in Germany. Yeah. So before we continue, I would want to welcome Brother Aras, if he can hear us now, because we see him on screen. Brother Aras, can you hear us?
Yes, after some problems, I can hear you as well.
Okay.
Sorry
great.
for being late.
No problem. We are happy to have you on air and online.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Greetings to everyone as well.
Okay. So maybe we were actually in the introduction phase. You can just introduce yourself shortly. I already told the audience that if they would have followed the first and the second episodes of this, our program, the blog series, you've introduced yourself there many times. And maybe you give a short introduction about yourself also again.
My name is Aras. I live in Wuppertal. I have been lucky to meet the Voice and Caravan some years ago, 18 years ago. And yeah, that's all.
Okay, great. So we just go now deep into the discussion. I will come back to Brother Imodia. Yeah, because with you, I think we should start because we say charity begins at home. We are in Germany. We are in Rudolstadt. We are the Voice activists, the network of the Voice. And you've just introduced yourself that you're from the Refugee Black Box campaign. Maybe you explain a little bit to us just shortly in a few words, you and Brother Ozaron, what the Refugee Black Box is for our audience. Brother Ozaron?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. You just said something, you're from the Refugee Black Box community in Thüringen and Rudolstadt. Can you just tell our audience a little bit, just 1-2 sentences, what the Refugee Black Box is all about?
Okay. Refugee Black Box. Is a non-governmental organization that support refugees, not like supporting them by giving them money. It's an organization that supports refugees to stand for their rights.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been with Refugee Black Box, which is part of a campaign of the VOICE Refugee Forum. You've been an activist within the network for some time now, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Why I'm saying all this, because we are going to connect it with our discussion. So we, since Brother Aras is there, I will start with Brother Imorikan. Maybe just from the campaigns that you've said you've been doing, and I'll go also to Brother Aras later. How do you connect police brutality internationally, police brutality in Germany, and police brutality out of your experience to bring out why you fight?
Oh well, like you know, I have been in this country now for quite over 31 years, and we were young when we came to this country, and we suffered a lot in Nigeria due to police brutality, which actually led to me, to my flight, from Nigeria, my birthplace, the place I love to be. I love to be, and I still love to be. It's just that we don't have that home at the moment. And so it's just a connection of what I experienced in Nigeria as a young student activist, fighting for democracy and human rights to be respected, and together with comrades from the Niger Delta, Ken Saro-Wiwa, trying to bring justice to the people. And that led to massacre, and I was personally imprisoned or jailed without charges for more than 8 months, and people died. And and that actually led to the situation that I'm in now, that I had to leave my country when I was very young, and coming to a country and entering Germany to discover for the first time that I am Black, and that's something that is so when you're talking about even commitment from our community, you have to also take that into consideration. You have to take the individual biography into consideration, because if I was not to be too strong, I think at a stage I would have said to myself, oh, this is the time for me to, at least like we Nigerians say, make I enjoy life small. You understand? Because we've gone through, we've gone through a lot of struggles. So there is actually no difference. What I'm trying to say is that there's actually no difference between police brutality in Nigeria, police brutality in Cameroon, and police brutality in Germany. The only difference is that the colonial structures the white Europeans left behind purposely are being used by our own kind to oppress our people. That's what I can say about that, because the brutality, even in Africa, the dimension of the brutality, of police brutality, if you even compare it to Western world, you might even start to wonder, are we even, do we even have respect for human rights, for human lives? If I go to Cameroon, I see the same thing. If I go to Nigeria, I see the same thing. If I go to Cote d'Ivoire, the same thing. Burkina Faso, the same thing. Mali, the same thing. Africa is bleeding. Now you've just brought me to that issue of police brutality, because we're just talking about it right now. This is the topic in Nigeria that is carrying the news, that young people again, history taking its course again. You know what I'm saying? More than 30 years after my own personal experience with that colonial structure, history repeating itself again. Young people, almost the same modus. Young people taken to the streets to speak, to tell the political hegemony, to tell the cabal that their time is up, that this is their time, and they need to have their rights and justice, because these youths have been disenfranchised for decades, economically and socially. So what you're seeing in Nigeria is a direct replicate of what happened some 3 decades ago. So which actually seems to mean that even in a democratic, so-called democratic setting, things like that even happen. That gives me a cause for worry. And I'm 54 years old now. And I think that this is the time for me to support the youth in their cause. They have spoken against police brutality, and this is why we have been demonstrating all over the city, all in very many cities in Germany. And now we are taking the march to to Berlin,
Okay.
to the embassy, and then to Angela Merkel. I will talk about that later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for this brief interjection. I would come to Brother Aras Barani, yeah, because now I asked Brother Osema here about the connection between national, international, and also our own experience, right? So you have been an active member of the Caravan for a long time. You've been one of the, I wouldn't say architects, but you've been somehow at the grassroots of many of the campaigns against police brutality from the migrant perspective in Germany for a long time. I would even say for about, if I don't want to exaggerate, 10 years, 10, 15 years. What can you say about this connection, national, international, and self-experience, right? I take you from Iran also, so you have a lot to talk about. We cannot hear you, your microphone, yeah.
I had to unmute my microphone, sorry.
Okay.
I use now my mobile phone because I was late. That's the reason why I sometimes need time to understand it.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mbolo, for the introduction. I think what Peter Osama said is completely correct, but I would just add maybe 1 2 other aspects to it. Most of us who are here, I think we are born in countries, I would say dominated countries, colonized countries, where we have faced this, how do you say, the servants of the imperialism in our own countries, the servants of the colonial structure in our countries. So our countries have always been dominated to serve others who lived in Europe or Northern America mainly. Maybe as well Japan and other countries as well, but I concentrate on Europe because we are in Europe. And we had, of course, independent of the country we have been in, we have faced police brutalities. But there is a main difference between, I think, police brutality in our countries, in the dominated countries, and then the dominating countries, so in the colonial countries. And I would like to point this out first. In our countries, people either have nothing to eat or they have no freedom and they fight for their own rights to survive, either be it food or housing or whatever. And they are confronted then with the police that is just the administration of the colonial power to continue this exploitation. And we are faced with police brutality. So the physical expression of these brutality is the same everywhere, but in our countries is the oppression method instrument, the police. And they are, of course, of our kinds, but they serve someone else in an external power. And so people who rise up to fight for freedom or for decolonization, liberation, national liberation, they are being brutally tortured, beaten, killed even by police, and this is something we know. But if you come to Europe, we are in Germany, and you are facing police brutality here, is not because of the fight you are leading, it's just because you are maybe seen different, marked different because of your color, because of your appearance, because of your clothes or something like that. And it's part of the racist structure here in these countries. And you feel dehumanized because you are not only marked different, but you are just treated with a police brutality or laws and everything which is connected to it, which dehumanizes you. So you are in your own countries, you speak the same language like the police. You are the same, basically have the same culture. So you are not felt being excluded because of your color or of your hair color or whatever, or language. But here you are just dehumanized because you are not seen as human beings. And this is something we have to understand. They don't see anyone who comes from Africa or Asia or somewhere else, Latin America. I don't like the word Latin America, but I don't know how I should use it, what kind of word I should use, because still we use the word of the colonialists. But still, you are dehumanized here to something which is not worth being a human and having no human rights. And this is not because of your political view. This is not because you fight to get your right of housing, food, whatever. It's just because you are different or marked different. And it's a fight as well to tell, I am here and I have the right to fight. And yeah, police brutality is another part which should at least tell us that this system is racist. You can see it by many different kind of aspects, but police brutality is only one of these aspects. And if someone who faces police brutality, if we ourselves don't realize that this is part of the entire racist society, then we are lost as well, because we don't see the connection that this society is racist and police brutality is just only one aspect of it.
Oh, could you just let me just put in a short thing there?
Yeah.
I just want to thank you for this brilliant submission, Arats. And by the way, greetings. We met last in Vienna, and I think you brilliantly also added very important points to this debate. And there's another point we also have to look at. Where we come from, people know that the police has no respect for human lives. And then where we come now to live, we've been told that we are equal to everybody. And this is even enshrined in their constitution. The word that's mentioned is unten.
Yeah.
You understand? So this is where it's a major difference. Just like when you go to Lagos, the same thing in many major cities in Nigeria, in Africa. When the bus comes, it comes. You know what I'm saying? When the bus comes, it comes. And the people are used to that. You know, they don't get, you know what I'm saying? You know, but I just using that to explain that when you now come to Europe and they tell you there is a bus time, a schedule, the time the bus is going to leave and to arrive, and they tell you German Ordnung, you know what I'm saying? And then you see that the bus is always coming late. And thus you cannot get to work early. What is my question to you, Brother Mbolo and Brother Aras and all the other people is, how do you manage this? Once you felt it's okay, is the situation, and here they tell you you are free. But we discover we are not free, because if we go to the streets and we just get arrested, you could get burnt in a police station, like Urijalo. You understand? Let me rest my case for now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brother Osemaye, for chipping into the argument. We'll go now because I think it's very important also to say, I think the three of us are old activists, yeah, from a long time. Brother Osemaye, although I did not meet during the times when he was working with Osiren, but at least he saw the beginning of the Voice. I just came shortly after the foundation of the Voice. Brother Aras also has a migrant background, but the three of us actually have something like I would call a stable situation within an unstable condition. Yeah, but we have brothers here who are actually in hot water, who have this experience, because that's why I put it, the international, national, and self. Yeah, we have this combination embodied in some of our brothers that are here now. So I would want to hear from Brother Imodia and Brother Osaron. How do you experience police brutality within your own communities? Brother Osaron? Hello? Yes. Brother Imodia? Brother Imodia, I think they cannot hear us, or I don't know what is happening with them now.
The microphone is mute.
Yeah, I think they should unmute it. If you have your unmute your microphone, please. We cannot hear you. But anyway, before they come, we should continue. Brother Osemaye just made us, the last statement he made was about you could be burned in the police cell, like Uri Jallo. Yeah, and this is one of the campaigns that we've been going on within the Voice, within the Caravan for a long time also. And I think this campaign could also act as an example in answering the question, what were we doing before the catastrophe? Yeah, during the catastrophe, what are we doing? With whom are we connecting? Yeah, we could bring other examples inside. I don't know if Brother Osemaye can say something about it concerning the Uri Jallo thing, because in the last times he's also been very active in Dessau, just like many of us activists too. But I think maybe from his own perspective, what do you think, Brother Osemaye? What do you think were the successes of the Uri Jallo campaign? Did you see fear within? Because I would also give my perspective about that. And how do you think it's going? Where do you think it's leading us to, this campaign on police brutality? And on this part, I would even call, like Brother Aras said it, racist police brutality. Yeah. Okay.
Well, racist police brutality can only be tolerated by a racist society. Okay, I just wanted to trip in that.
Yeah.
And you know, in the 90s, for those of us who've been here for quite some time, if you remember very well, you will know that even in the 90s, at the beginning, 1990, 89, 90, 91, when we were trying to mobilize people, it was very difficult. Why? Because of what Professor P.L.O. Lumumba called the worst enemy of mankind, fear. And it is not actually baseless, or was not baseless, because we were not only humiliated, we were threatened. And people were scared about being active against police brutality, against racism, because of fear of deportation. And as of that time, there was not even a refugee organization from refugees to tackle the issues of the refugees in Germany. So therefore, I'm so proud about the Voice, because I can say that as a living witness that the Voice is the first true refugees for refugee organization in Germany. And I remember when I went on a tour around Germany, 1996. That was the time we were trying to mobilize the Nigerians against Abacha. It was a tour around Germany. I visited Jena. I saw the spirit, not only from Brother Osari. I saw the spirit that was there, the commitment, and that idea of, I don't give it them if I sleep on the floor. You know, I slept on the floor too. And the next day we were out demonstrating, organizing activities, making our positions being fed. And it is only when people started to see successes coming out of it. The brother, what's his name, that this residence fleeched, you know, and Brother Sonny in Bremen, and all that gave themselves for this cause. You too, you know, in Mbolo, and people went to jail for this, you know, and people were brutalized for this. And Brother Mbolo, please allow me to, I know it is personal, but you were talking to me some few days ago about your health, about one eye and how it came about. And nobody is talking about it in this country. All what we are hearing is that there is no racism in this country, and therefore there is no cause to even research on it. In fact, why should they even research on it? I always ask myself. So, but to have a brother coming to me, talking to me on the phone and say, hey, brother, I'm going to the doctor because I might have that problem, and I'm feeling pain. This pain has been going on for a long time. And it's because of police brutality. And nobody is talking about it, brother. And I know that is where I feel that since 1999, from 1999 to 2000, after the caravan, I noticed a period where our people have been sleeping. Those of us who scaled through now became very comfortable and forgot where they are coming from. This is the basic. And this is where you have a brother in Rudolstadt, this racist city, East German city. I've been there. I was given security in Rudolstadt so that they don't attack me. And this is where they put our brothers. So when you have a brother like this with all this problem, everybody coming together, what is the guarantee that if this brother is out of this problem, he will remain in the struggle? We should talk about that.
Yeah. So I think it's a very clear point that you made, though you went a little bit further to touch on the particular problematic, which I find really interesting also. I would also add a little bit to what you said, about fear, because we have to see that fear is always there, but when you overcome the fear, whatever thing comes after, it's left on how you direct things. And for me, the way you put it also answers the first question about the catastrophe thing. What were we doing before the catastrophe? Because if we are organized before the catastrophe, fear would just be a minimum constraint, within us. Brother Aras, I would even want to let us name the different police brutality campaigns that we've been doing. And only in North Rhine-Westphalia, you have a lot to talk about. Which ones can you remind us of?
Basically, the start of the caravan group in North Rhine-Westphalia had a connection to police brutality. Because we were some people from different cities, Düsseldorf, Wuppertal, Bielefeld, Krefeld, Duisburg, that met after the caravan tour 2002. We met on the street. And we were just meeting and thinking what we could do and see in what situation each of us is to do something for our small community that was growing, basically, that was coming together and knowing each other. And by that time, we met one day in, I think it was in Dortmund. It was a room and location of a partner organization, which was part of the caravan, Agif was it called, from Turkish Kurdish community. And then two students came from, I think it was Bochum at that time. And they had one brother with themselves, who contacted them. I forgot his name. It's 17 years ago, sorry. But Mulay, I think was his name. Mulay, yes. He was from, I don't know, Ivory Coast or wherever. And he was a student here. He had an even German passport. But his color was obviously not German, according to the ones who brutalized him. And he was controlled in the train station. And he was, how do you say it, offended because they dehumanized him. There were many people. Why do you choose someone and control him? I mean, every one of us has experienced such controls, myself and many others as well. And he was offended to say, why do you control me and not my neighbor, this one or this one? And then they beat him up. They brought him to the police station at the Bahnhof in Oberhausen. and really brutalized him and opened a case against him because of violence or resistance against the police. And that was how he contacted us. And we who were meeting to see what we could do and if we could meet as a caravan group in Northern Rhine-Westphalia, we had no experience in writing leaflets or flyers or any calls or making any campaigns. So we said, okay, the smallest thing we could do is to start with you to write an open letter to the responsible peoples and say what has happened. And the intention was not to write and ask them to forgive or whatever. The thing was to publish what has happened concretely as Mulai explained it to us. So basically we started this small campaign, and everything against him was after a while disappeared because it was published and people could see what has happened, and no case, no court case, nothing came again. So, but the experience with Mulai that he was beaten up and offended still was there, but at least he had no bad consequences or no further bad consequences of punishment or financial consequences, something like that. And I remember it was funny because I don't know if I should say this or not, but anyhow, we went with him as well to a meeting of the caravan. It was in Zwickau. And Zwickau, we didn't have, you remember, yeah. Zwickau was not a place where there was a strong caravan structure. So caravan structure, I mean, caravan has no structure, but these active people who organize things and have rooms and places and possibilities. Yeah. And when we went there, the meeting was organized by refugees in the camp there from different countries. And we could only sleep either in the refugee camp or outside somewhere on the street or in the forest, which I did. Anyhow, on the next day, Mulai, because he had a better situation than the brother and sisters refugees, he complained about the sleeping places. And I think Osemaya said, we are used to sleep everywhere because our aim and intention is to meet and to see what we can do. And it's not important what we eat or where we sleep, you know? The important thing is to be with each other and to make plans for our future to make it better. But anyhow, he complained, and I think it was Sunny who explains how we live, and we have to accept the different situations of our people where we are. And if people in a refugee camp invite for a caravan meeting or for any other meeting, and they offer what they have, their rooms, and share it with us, it's a great honor to take part in this. And we cannot basically, how to say it, oversee this and be, let's say, because we are maybe in a better situation, say, okay, this is not my standard or whatever. So police brutality, making it short, police brutality was the first campaign that we did as a people who met here to see what we could do as a small group. And Mulai was the first one, but he was luckily not beaten to death or had no bad consequence, except maybe the psychological consequences he has to bear his entire life. I think one of the next important campaign was that of Domenico Maggio, a Congolese young man who came here alone with the age of 14 or 15, and who of course suffered a lot. And we don't know what he really suffered in Congo because he lost his parent there in the war, which is, I would say, a colonial war as well, or war between colonialists, but people say it's a civil war. It's not a civil war. Anyhow, he was from Congo, and after he got his Aufenthalt, his psychological or social situation was not well. So one day he just asked for something, for money from his neighbor, and he just put a knife out, but he didn't use it, and he was far away, and police came, and the only thing they could do, shot him in the heart. And he was a young man which had maybe a lot of dreams. He was a musician. So Domenico Maggio's campaign was another campaign. Everyone can read. I could go a lot into this campaign because it has a lot to say. But maybe one aspect which is important. we were coming from, it was 2006, we were coming from the first big demonstration we had in Dessau because of Uri Jallo. We had 1st of April 2006, I think the first bigger demonstration, because we mobilized all of us from Voice and Caravan nationwide from Germany, all over Germany. And we were on the way back, and Elim and me, and we were in a train, and we met one young man, and he said that Domenico Madio has been killed, and in Dortmund, and there's a demonstration. So he was killed on the 14th of April. And we went to that demonstration, and there were, I would say, 500, 600 people, most of them Congolese, from the Congolese community. There are a lot of Congolese people living around Dortmund. And they were angry. Many of them young people who knew Dominic because he was making music. And there were only a few, let's say, people who were not Congolese. And maybe 10. 2 of us were us, Elim and me. And the police had organized helicopters. I don't know how many police, the number of police was double as much as the demonstrators. And the young people shouted, Domenico Madio, this was murder. And the police stopped the entire demonstration and basically did not allow to say this word. And after them, we had meetings. It was organized by a church in Dortmund, who was a Congolese church as well. And the pastor was someone who was diplomatic, let's say. He wanted not to break it with the police and so on. And this was the reason why the entire campaign, the young people were demotivated and didn't continue much as well. And later, years later, we found out that many of these young people who were there were controlled afterwards on the way back to the cities, neighboring cities, and they had to pay fines. But because they were not organized, had no connection with each other, they paid the fines. You know, you could fight against this. Why is someone who is murdered with no reason is killed, and you are not allowed to say this murder? And then the people who just raise and say why, the only thing they said, why is he murdered? You know, they were criminalized, brutal, they have to pay money. And such people are then lost, individualized, atomized, how you might call it, and not organized with each other as well. So, and this is about Dominic. We could talk a lot about it. And the last campaign, which is we are involved in, is basically in Kleve, Geldern, New Duisburg, where one young Kurdish guy was murdered in prison. He burned, and they say it was suicide, accident. We don't know. We don't know how he could be burned. The reason why he was imprisoned was ridiculous as well. There is no reason. There are 2 men died who were killed in Essen, and now they found out the police there is racist because they have a chat group where they share racist stuff. But no one said how many people have suffered from these racist police. We know at least 2 have been killed. We know this year from the internet that many families have suffered from these police in Essen. The latest one was a Nigerian family who was which was published in the internet and media, and you could see it. There was one Turkish guy, there was one Arab guy. So these are public things, but no one in these public, let's say, space connects the racist police with the victims and what they have suffered. And how many more are they that we don't know?
Yeah, thank you, Aras, for actually bringing this connection. I would want to, because I think I just don't want to forget it, what you said in the beginning, right? About saying Dominic Komadio that was murder, because it brings us back to the campaign of Uri Jallo, yeah? And I would just want to use the campaign of Uri Jallo to answer these our 2 basic questions also. The first one is, why do we always have to wait for a catastrophe, yeah? And the second one is, after this catastrophe, with whom do we connect, yeah, to fight our oppression? With Uri Jallo, I think it was, I wouldn't say it was luck, but during that time, we had a vibrant, active, and resilient migrant community, yeah, in the networks of the Caravan, of the Voice, the Plataforma, and all that we had. And then the Uri Jallo thing came. And for me, when the different migrant delegations were visiting Dessau, yeah, it was not only sending a message to the Dessau community, to the Dessau police instrument, but it was also encouraging the Dessau migrant refugee communities that were actually being torn apart by the Dessau white community, yeah? And what happened was that this migrant community, they were also disconnected with other communities, yeah? But because they were connected with themselves, yeah, in different way, they had a social bond in the name of Muktaba and his telecafe. This is where they always met, yeah, talked about different issues so they could easily call each other to mobilize for something. And then from the outside, we came also, yeah? Although they did not believe in our strength, but they saw our consistency in coming, yeah? Our consistency in the message we're giving, and our consistency in our resilience, yeah? So what do I mean by our resilience? Was that when we came, we told them actually, forget about the white people, yeah? Not forgetting in the sense that we don't need their solidarity, we don't need their support, but forget about them in the sense that we are the ones to be in the forefront of all our fights, yeah? Whoever comes to support is only giving us a lending hand, yeah? This they later understood. And when we're even having discussions, we had pre-discussions with the police about demonstrations and things like that. And then the police came and gave us hands to greet us. Then we told them in front of the Dessau people, we don't greet people that murder us, yeah? And the police were surprised. Then they were saying, no, but we didn't murder us. Then we told them, you are a band of people, and this band in Dessau murdered our brother. So, and then we continued, where we came to this incident where we were saying, Uri Jallo, that was murder, yeah? And we had to go to the German courts after being beaten by the police, yeah? Not to say that. And then we had it on our banners. So when we came the first time, because we didn't know how brutal they were and how petty they were acting, they took away our banners, yeah? So when we came the second time, we made 2 banners. They take one, we brought the other one, yeah? So we made 3 or 4 until we went to court. And even in court in 2012, we were beaten. That's where when Brother Osemaye talks about my eye, this is where I got this eye issue also. Yeah, just to be clear, we had a court decision from 2008, 2009 saying we are allowed to say Uri Jallo that was murder, but we were beaten by the German police for saying Uri Jallo that was murder. We didn't stop. We continued. Yeah. So this is the point where this fear was down. Our motivation and our courage, because we had nothing else to lose than that, yeah? That is on the one side. On the other side, to answer the other question, with whom do we connect? We realized also that the success of the Uri Jallo campaign was because of the strength of the migrant communities, not because of the democracy of Germany, not because of the transparency of their courts and their system. No, it was because of the fight that we had in us. Yeah, and why is it so? Because even when we had our collaborators or co-activists who were white, left-wing German, they were the first ones to tell us to wait for the courts to decide if it was murder or not murder, right? So they were the ones saying we had problems with even left-wing Germans in Dessau, in Berlin, and everywhere else who were saying, no, 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 you cannot say it was murder. The court has not decided yet. We said, we have the scars on our body. We know when one of us is being killed, and Uri Jallo was killed. Look, 15, 16 years after, everyone is saying Uri Jallo was murdered. Some people go to the courts again to try to claim a legal victory. But I think for me, our victory was once in 2008, when everyone knew where we were coming from, when everyone knew where we were going to, yeah? And when everyone understood that our fight was not only a fight for Uri Jallo, but for every migrant that was brutalized, killed in the cell or out of the police cell, in Germany and out of Germany, in Europe and out of Europe. And I think for me, the Uri Jallo campaign encapsulates our successes. And if I wish one day we should sit all again together, yeah, analyze Urijalo campaign, analyze Dominic Kumajo campaign, analyze Mariam Essa campaign, all the campaigns that we've been having, and to see the different aspects where we should understand that the power doesn't rest on them. The power rests on our organizing before the catastrophe, like we're doing and we're still trying to do within the Caravan and the Voice network, and the connection that we build, the solidarity that we build when we are carrying this campaign between the migrants, because at the end, it's only us that can understand where our pain comes from. It's only us that can understand where in our shoes the pains are. Yeah. So for me, these are the things that we should try to see. And it's a pity, to be sincere. And this was the basis of the discussion that we're having now, that we looked everywhere in Germany. We saw that there was a lot of pain and agony still going on. There was a lot of fear, but this fear has overcome the motivation, the zeal to fight back. Yeah. And one of the objectives of this program was actually to rebuild this zeal again, this motivation. Yeah. And to come back to you, Brother Osemaye, because you also said that your time is limited in this program.
No, but it's okay, my brother.
Good,
because
good. So if you have
I don't know.
If you have
to
add, yeah.
I just have to, because there are some, because there is a continuity,
yeah,
in this system, you know, and we've started to talk about the time from 97, 96 or whatever, but things happened before, you understand? And talking about the deportation culture in this country, you know, and which after living so long in this country, I now realize that even the deportation culture is not even, can be traced back to 500 years ago. You know what I'm saying? You know, when our forefathers and kings and queens were deported out of their different nation territories to wherever, to West Indies and whatever, you know. So, and this goes on, you know, when I came to this country, the first shock, one of those first shock I got, actually, when it comes to police brutality, was in the case of Kola Bankole, the Nigerian in the Frankfurt. You know what I'm saying? You know, because that was actually what galvanized, you know, that kind of, you know, you could imagine how formidable that campaign was at that time. You know what I'm saying? You know, so what I'm saying is that these networks and the successes of Urijalo campaign is a cumulation, yeah, of campaigns that happened, unfortunately, because of such heinous crimes that the German government, the German system, racist system, committed against humanity. Because somebody is living in this country, in a country, and you want to deport that person, you just end that person's life, just like that. And I'm also a living witness because Adebantu, Adil Dukoya, he's in Cologne right now. He lives in Nigeria right now. We used to live together here in Cologne. So, and we went through these campaigns on, I remember the case of Achide John in Hamburg. You understand? And how, when we had this racist, very racist interior minister in Hamburg that I think I've forgotten his name. Chill, or whatever, yeah. So, and I remember vividly, and let me just be very clear about that even such white campaigns like Mut gegen Recht and all that, they all emanated as a result of the migrants' activism, the voice of the migrants who said, no, you cannot just be killing our people because they might be, you say they are living here illegally, but it is illegal for you to take their life. If you even have that gut to call human beings illegal, and at the same time, you are even illegally taking that so-called illegal person his life. And this is something which we couldn't bear. And this is one of those things that motivated us. And don't forget that we came into this country when the country was burning. You understand? From Solingen to Hoyerswerda, Rostock, those were the time people were even scared to go out of their asylum territory, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So that also made a lot of people afraid to be active or to move around. But at a time when they started seeing that Bankole and somebody else also, for example, somebody died in Aachen because of deprivation of, because they refused to give him the proper medicine, just died because he's a black man, Nigerian. So all that mobilized the people. So when the Voice, which started in the East, you know, and when the Voice started coming up, building up networks, it was very easy to link up with activists in the West, already in some kind of struggles, one struggle or the other, about police brutality or systemic brutality. Let us even put it that way. Because there are different forms of violence, you know, that is being meted on our people. But we are talking about the physical violence today. So another time we talk about the other form of violence that our people are suffering from this system. And let me just make it very clear. It is not like we are insulting the German authority and German authorities or the German people by saying that Germany is a racist country. We are not insulting or trying to use that to bring down any German, but to make them understand that there is a problem in this country and that they know that there is a problem in this country. Make them understand that they have to act, because the only way they can act is to first of all accept that this country is a racist country. And so long as they don't accept it, police will continue to melt their racist brutality on people that they feel that don't look like their own kind. You understand? So this is the point we should also bring in. Your last question, your question, I lost touch with your question you actually asked me. Could you repeat it again?
No, the question for me was actually through our experiences. Yeah, I mean, you answered it actually. There were two questions. One was, what were we doing before something happens? Yeah. And the other one was, when something happens.
Okay. Yes.
With whom do we connect? How do we connect? Yeah.
Okay. We take the case of Urijalo, for instance. Brother, you cannot tell me that you are, after all that we have all mobilized to make Urijalo's case an international case, but you cannot tell me that the situation relating to the campaign of Urijalo as compared to about 10 years ago is the same. You know, so there must be a time when we should all come together to, like you rightly said at the beginning, where we have to evaluate, not on radio, but when we have to evaluate what we have achieved. We are already seeing it, but where we are moving to, we are seeing it, and it's not looking funny. You understand what I'm saying? You know, because it's something that is a lot of people put in a lot of energy, a lot of invested a lot of time, money, and selflessness, and you know, it's the same thing that if we are not always careful, that the white majority always come in to infiltrate. It's always the same problem. So, and how do we get that problem solved? When we start a campaign, we are making huge successes here and there, but we don't have formidable structures to keep those successes. That is why you see you have a campaign so big, and then maybe after about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, it's dying down, because there is no structure to even, let me even put it, reform our strategies. Every time we meet, we are always talking about strategies.
And in the voice, we say, going further, coming back and starting all over again.
Well, again.
Yes. So thank you, my brother. I just want, because I look at the time now, we don't really have much time. I would want to recall our viewers and direct all our general audience that we are on Reboot FM 88.4 megahertz in Berlin and 90.7 megahertz in Potsdam. Again, this is the third episode of our series, 26 years anniversary of the VOICE Refugee Forum. The VOICE has been 26 years and we are celebrating it in our own way by documenting our campaigns that we've been doing. We started in October. The VOICE was created in October 1994. So we dedicated the last 3 months of the year for this episode. So we had the 60th, the 61st, and we are on the 62nd edition. To crown this discussion, this particular discussion on police brutality, in our call we said, actually I will read it out, when exposing a crime is treated as committing a crime, then you are ruled by criminals. How does this fit for Germany? Yeah, because I would totally buy it for Cameroon. I would buy it for Nigeria. We have criminal leaders, yeah? We have a constitutional, in bracket, democracy, yeah? All, not almost, all the campaigns that you guys have listed, that we've listed. I mean, Brother Aras, you would come back to, I wrote Remscheid down because I think we should also find the connection, how it deals with police brutality. It has to do also with people in the lagers. Unfortunately, their microphone is not working. Would have heard much more from them. Rudolstadt. Remscheid has to do with it also. But to come back to the point that I was trying to make, all the campaigns that we've been doing, yeah, we've been meted with full brutality from the state. And one of their main instruments is the police, and that's what we're talking about. So are these leaders criminals? Because definitely, if you want to expose a crime like killing migrants, burning them in your police cells, killing them in their lagers, and we're just coming out to say, you've killed one of us, we want justice, and then you even kill us more. Are we ruled by criminals that are under a constitution, a constitutional democracy? Any of you can answer.
No, well, let me just answer because I'm going to be leaving in a couple of minutes. So I will allow me, Brother Aras, to make that. Okay. And I think that's a very, very straight question. And to answer it, you don't have to be afraid to say what you feel about it. If I come to you, run to you, because somebody is about to commit a crime against me, and you say you give me protection, and in the process, you kill me, what are you?
A criminal.
Thank you.
So
I would say different if I'm allowed to say something.
you're always allowed to say something, my brother.
Yeah, thank you. You know, to be criminal or not, wherever we are born or raised, is always judged or assessed according to the laws which exist in these countries or whatever. So I would put it different. I would say, because the laws we have here never would give justice to us. They are racist. We know it. Otherwise, we would have no deportation. So if in a racist society, a racist police is there, for me, they are conformists. They are conforming to these laws and to society. So according to the rules of this society, they are part of it. Of course, killing someone is against the law. But you know, when the human rights were written down, people were killed and massacred in many countries of many parts of this world. So it's nice to have human rights because it's an aim where we want to go to. But I think people that kill other people knowingly, just because they see a different color or whatever, who kill weaker maybe people because they are 10 people and like it to burn someone down. Why? Because he's Arab, he's whatever, he's black, whatever, because of many reasons. These are not humans for me. Simple. It has nothing to do with criminal. Your humanity is destroyed. You are not seen as human. We have to cure these people, and I think every resistance that we do, we cure this society, and they should be thankful to us because we make it more human.
Oh, we cure them from whiteness.
So,
yes, whatever, from supremacy.
No, we cure them from whiteness.
Yeah,
because it is inside, it is in this whiteness we have the supremacy. You understand? And I think it's a very interesting point you are bringing in, brother.
I think just I don't want to cut you short. Yeah,
yes,
I want to lead the discussion into a different direction.
Okay.
I think what brother Aras says is really okay. I think what you also said, brother Osemaye, is okay. I think it leads us to one point: human rights, which brother Aras says. Yeah, and we are coming to the 10th of December. You are leaving also very soon. What is the 10th of December for us, and why, brother Osemaye, did you decide to choose this date for the campaign End SARS March to Berlin? Yeah, so maybe this is going to share a little bit of light on the criminality or non-criminality, the internal, external laws, international laws, and what we perceive as humanity. So you have the floor, brother. First of all, why, I would just ask a direct question, right? Why you have, we have a campaign, not only you, we have a campaign now, End SARS, which has been really galvanized in Nigeria. We've had some demonstrations within the cities, other cities in Germany, and now there is a march coming to Berlin, organized mainly by Nigerian networks, yeah, supported by many African networks also. This is going to be on the 10th of December, 2020, which is the International Human Rights Day. Why did you decide to choose this day, and why Berlin?
Okay, I choose, first of all, I choose their date because when they were drawing out the Human Rights Declaration, it was actually not meant for people like you, people like me, people like my parents, people like your parents in Africa. They were not designing these human rights for Africa, for Asia, or for other people that actually will need that protection, because if they did, they would have set up structures of enforcement in case of violations. And there are no, where there are declarations and law and no sanctions, it's like tea without sugar, or you understand what I'm saying? You know, because it's something that you can imagine a situation where Ken Saro-Wiwa was murdered 1995, and I had a meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs here of the German Foreign Affairs, talking to him about ways we can bring down the military within weeks by cutting down the source of revenue, which is oil, because it's not even getting to the people. You know what that guy told me? He's dead now, Mr. Kinker. He said, Mr. Mr. Donatus, this is not possible. What do we do about our economic interests? You know, this is the first and only honest politician I've ever met in this country. I mean, the most honest politician I've ever met in this country, because he just told me the plain truth, you know? So when you come around to tell me we have human rights and that we are going to give you human rights in 2000, you know, fella said, you cannot dash me human rights. You cannot dash me. You know what means dash for people, listeners? Dash is like Geschenk in German. You know, you cannot give me my human right as a gift because it's my property. You cannot give my property back to me as a gift.
So,
it's inborn.
The point also with SARS, maybe you explain a little bit to the audience, those who have not been following the campaign in Nigeria. Yeah, because SARS is just one of these police units. You have what? You have other units that are also really brutalizing people in Nigeria. What are they all about, and what is the demonstration all about in Berlin?
Okay, in an attempt to curb armed robbery, they said, they set up different units, and one of those units is called SARS, a Special Armed Robbery Force Service, and there's another unit called SWAT. You know, they are famously known for corruption, but not only corruption, for high sense of brutality, and especially against the youths. The youths never, you can even be walking in the streets today because you have your dreads, for instance. That is enough for a policeman in Nigeria to consider you as a criminal, as an internet fraudster, and if you are not careful, you could even be killed for that. Extrajudicial murder, executions, and that is why the youths. And apart from that, that is actually the main reason why the youths are coming to the street. The first reason why they came to the street, to protest against this police brutality. And the people in Nigeria, the elites, the political class, didn't expect this. So, and this is a group of people who've been marginalized for such a long time. So this anti-SAP protest is actually like an opener for a true revolution. You understand? Because Nigeria has been going through series of crises, like over the decades, which actually are colonial in nature. We have to be very frank about that. And the peak of the iceberg is actually on the 20th of October, when youths came out in thousand-folds in Lekki toll gate to peacefully demonstrate for their rights and against police brutality, and singing a Nigerian anthem, and the military marched out and opened fire on these youths, and dozens were killed and very many were injured. And up to today, there is no apology from the Nigerian state. There's no compensation, and even today, the police is even asking the so-called commission investigating this to strike out this case, because the commission, according to them, does not have the jurisdiction to attend to such cases. So now we feel that, this is not only happening in Nigeria, right here in Germany. It's a continuity of the system in Nigeria, in the terms of the Nigerian embassy and the consulate in Berlin and the consulate in Frankfurt, where Nigerians are now being turned the embassy workers have turned themselves to be gods. You might maybe might have seen some video that went viral maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. This sex for passport scandal that is still rocking the embassy, and you yourself, Mr. Brother Mbolo, you've been into this struggle too, in respect to the Nigerian embassy. So I don't even need much to explain to you about how corrupt this embassy is, and the shame they even bring to our country, the poor service, the deprivation of rights to fellow Nigerians in a country that is even called a democracy in Germany. Things like this are happening. Last time I went to get my passport, to renew my passport, and they told me that the scanning machine is out of order now, that they have to send this machine back to Nigeria for repairs. Hello? Are you kidding me? I said to them, your machine is out of order. You send it to Nigeria, so and Nigeria will now send it to the company in Europe that manufactured it for repairs and send it back to Nigeria again. And then I might have to wait for 1 year for that. So this is the reason why we are going to Berlin. And this is not only a Nigerian thing.
What are the political demands, to be straight, 3 or 4, or because of the time issue? Just give us a light, and maybe in the process, you can give us a homepage, a Facebook page where we can do more reading, if in case our audience need to have more information.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, our demands are actually on they are twofold. One to the Nigerian government and one to the German government.
Okay.
And we are demanding from the Nigerian government to immediately dissolve these criminal police units that are terrorizing the Nigerian people. We are calling on the Nigerian government to release all peaceful NSAS protesters that have been arrested and to stop harassing and freezing the accounts of activists in Nigeria. We are also calling on the Nigerian government to start setting up a process, a constitutional process, to replace this unitary constitution, the 1999 unitary constitution, that is even allowing this mystery in Nigeria. So we are calling on Nigerians to come together so that we can bring down this constitution on the German side. But Brother Mbolo, you know that it's a colonial problem, and Berlin is the center of these colonial happenings. So, and we are taking the fight there to talk to present our resolutions to Madam Merkel to act, because up till now they've been silent not only about Nigeria, they've been silent about Cameroon, they've been silent about Burkina Faso, they've been silent about every other country. Africa is bleeding. So what we are asking them to do, apart from on Nigeria, is that they should ban all corrupt Nigerian politicians and office holders from entering this country. They should give them visa ban. They should freeze their accounts. Not only freezing their account, we want the money back to Africa. Because one thing is to freeze their account and just store the money in their banks here. And the other thing is to bring the money back to the people. It's a whole lot of demands, brother, but you can visit us on our Facebook page. We have a lot of information about that. And there's other forms we can give you. We've been on air. We've been giving out interviews and newspapers. So if you Google march to Berlin, you will get some information about the march, actually.
Okay.
And you can imagine I'm rushing now because I have to quickly join another meeting.
Just maybe if you say put a little bit, if you have like 3-4 minutes, but Aras wanted to say something also.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just 2 points I would like to raise here. The German government is currently trying to deport as many Nigerians to Nigeria as possible.
Yeah.
We have heard many numbers. End of last year at the VOICE celebration, it was 1 year ago, that 30,000 Nigerians or more should be deported to Nigeria. The German government is since years. The German government is since some years instrumentalizing or bribing the Nigerian government to use them as a platform to deport many Africans to Nigeria, and not only Nigerians, because they cannot deport them to other countries. They are bribing them by so-called aids, development aids, and these development aids are increasing the security of the Nigerian police, so how they can control people. They are giving them military, weaponry, etc., etc. So I think this is other aspects that we should not forget. So not only the hands of the Nigerian police is bloody, but the hands of those who deport people to these countries where they might be killed, and the hands of those people who sell them weaponry to oppress the people. So I think at least, Brother Peter, we should, we the others as well who broaden your distribute the information, your message, we should be focusing as well who live here on German government. And I wish your campaign and the demonstration will be successful, but these points at least should be raised as well, because deportation is another part besides police brutality of this German system.
Aras, be very sure about that. It's just that I don't have enough time
No problem.
to go into
But
that, you know.
I would want you guys, because actually there is not much time. We have just like 5 minutes. I would want you guys both now, because we've talked about these issues, police brutality. Yeah, we had 2 points: before, during, and after. How, from just short statements from you, how would you lead, because you're experienced guys now, how would you lead a successful campaign with these points? Now we're talking about police brutality in Germany, racist police brutality. We're talking about police brutality in Nigeria. These are campaigns going on. We've analyzed it from different aspects. But a few words from your side, if they ask you, Brother Aras, or let me start with Brother Osemaye, how would you lead a successful campaign through your experience now with the points that we've discussed?
A successful campaign depends on how good your network is. And therefore, if we want to run a successful campaign in the future, we should, while we are carrying on our campaign simultaneously, we should spend some time on how to build up structures to keep this campaign alive so long as the problems are still alive. Not that the campaign dies before the problem that led to the campaign. That would be my last word.
Okay, thank you very much. Brother Aras.
Build relations, that's everything. Relation with people who are in the same position, who all have the same aims and targets, who desire or wish a human society. No matter in which social position and place and conditions they are, because you cannot avoid the catastrophe. It comes or it doesn't come. It doesn't depend on your paper, on your Duldung, Aufenthalt, or whatever. You can be hit and killed by police anytime because just you are different. So the only thing is how we can survive is building relations. And I count, or I judge success as how many people are there to support each other. And this is everything. You cannot count it in likes in internet or whatever. We can count it if we have a problem, how many people are there to give us shelter, give us food, give us happiness and shoulders where we can lean, at least for a moment. And so this is the most important thing. And this is the resilience structure. That's it.
Okay.
Simple.
So I thank you guys, both of you, for having taking the time to be with us today. This is our last episode of the series of the BlockSeries 26 years Voice Forum anniversary. Unfortunately, our 2 brothers could not join us because of technical issues, and this is part of the inequality that we also have in Germany, that they take some migrants, put deep in the forest, and break them socially, break them economically, break them physically. But hopefully, like we've said, building relations should be one of our main building stones. And I thank you again for being part of this program. I can't say I hope to see you. I know we're going to see latest through our different campaigns, but earliest through our discussions and strategies in how we fight the monsters in whose belly we find ourselves. Thank you very much.
Berlin will come.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Brother Osemaye and Mbolo.
Thank you, Aras.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Take care, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the contribution.